But before Church Catholicism resorted to its usual last resort, genocide, to eradicate early Christianity in southern France as well, it was able to develop for several decades. The Cathars led a simple life, nourished themselves from their manual labor, often as carpenters or weavers. Many of the Cathar women knew about medicinal herbs and useful plants. They did not build any churches, but met outdoors or, protected from the weather, in caves, to pray together or to talk about the gospel. For them, liturgical rituals were an empty, trivial spectacle. Instead of liturgical communions of the Catholic Church, they had a solemn meal together, similar to the meal of love of the early Church. They rejected crosses with a corpus, as well as eating meat. The Church's co-option of children through a sacrament of baptism, and every kind of violence or war. They frequently used the symbol of a dove, a symbol of peace, and also of the Holy Spirit. Compared with other faiths, tolerance was taken for granted. The Albigensians, as they were also known after their main location, the city of Albi, also had, like the Bogomils, many so-called auditors, that is, listeners, who today would be called sympathizers. The primary concern of the Cathars, and the reason for their earnest basic attitude, was the fight against evil, which, according to their conviction, stood behind the world with its wars and wickedness of all kinds, and which permeated all external matter. First, however, evil must be recognized in the heart of each person, and fought against with the path of inner cleansing.
According to the belief of the Cathars, God could have in no way created the world as it is. Nevertheless, over the course of time, various opinions developed among the Cathars regarding how everything had exactly come to be. However, what was remembered is the incredible courage with which, according to eyewitness accounts, hundreds of Cathars, with no complaints, and some singing and praying, approached agonizing death via the Catholic Inquisition. An extremely hard turning point was the conquest of their fortress Montségur in 1244 by 10,000 Catholic crusaders. The inhabitants of the fortress were put before the choice to either recant their early Christian faith and become Catholic, or to be burned alive at the stake. 225 Cathars were burned because they did not submit to the Catholic faith and thus to the Baal system and its tyranny. However, several were smuggled out of the besieged fortress unnoticed. Representatives of the Catholic Dominican order and other inquisitors then chased them through the woods and caves of the Pyrenees with hounds. The priests of the murderous Baal construct thought up a particularly horrible kind of death for these last escaped Cathars. They walled them alive in a cave. With this, the system of the Papal Church had won externally on all fronts.
One can indeed kill people, but the spiritual potential they have built up and increased remains. It flows into the early Christian stream that reappears again and again and moves people. Thus, the Cathar thought regarding a consistent, simple Christian life is found symbolically encoded in the pictures of a Hieronymus Bosch, as well as in later accounts of the Waldensians or Hussites, the Moravian brothers, or the Anabaptists. It was not by chance that the Huguenots, persecuted by Catholicism, were successful later in the Cathar home territory in southern France, and it was not by chance that the preacher Savonarola in Florence could build on the aspirations of the Patarines, as the Italian Cathars were called. The fact that the spiritual energy of this superhuman sacrifice was not lost becomes clear as the story unfolds, not only religiously but also politically. The age of the Enlightenment of the 18th century also had an important precursor in the Cathars.
Dear viewers, dear listeners, at the beginning of our program, we spoke of the living, prophetic word of the Christ of God, and during this program we have spoken about several communities in which the free spirit showed itself in various centuries and regions. This free spirit, the Spirit of the Christ of God, was and is also the Comforter whom Jesus of Nazareth announced to his true followers, and who, despite all opposition, has repeatedly forged ahead in every century after Jesus of Nazareth. In its whole fullness, this also holds true for our time, through the works of Gabriele, Sophia, for over 40 years. Everything that appeared by way of the free spirit during the past millennia was a preparation for the great event that is taking place today before all eyes, the building of New Jerusalem. The words of Jesus, "If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you," also pertain to Gabriele, the prophetess and emissary of God. What that has meant and still means for Gabriele, this incomparable woman on behalf of God, will be extensively reported in other programs. Her life joins this long chain of sacrifice that is formed by the true prophets of God and many righteous men and women. With this thought, we take our leave of you. Greetings in God and goodbye. The church doctrine of eternal damnation is a mockery of God. Jesus of Nazareth did not teach this. He brought the message of God's unending love, of the one eternal Father for all his children. And he, the Christ of God, also teaches again today through the mouth of a prophet that no soul is lost. Read, "This is my word, Alpha and Omega," the great Christ revelation given through Gabriele, the prophetess and emissary of God in our time. Order under the telephone number 0049 9391 504 843 or online at gabriele-publishing-house.com.